Sup, fuckers? World's okayest trader. Going over my trades and my read for today. Feb 14. Yes. March contract. So I got in, I don't know, 8:30? Yeah, maybe 8:30. 8 o'clock, somewhere around that time, Eastern. And I drew this little uptrend. So we were, touch, gets a new high. We've got the break. We're looking for a new extreme, but this could have been new high, first entry long, second entry long. Now it triggers here and flushes down. So this could have been a double bar entry or a double trap, a bit more advanced. I didn't take this because I didn't like this bar that it triggered, flushed. I guess you could have gone there, but that's not for me. We get the new high, and then we get another high. Or we get a break into extreme, and then price action unfolds, and we get a high. So at this point, because it was that double two matching, like open close right there, and the reversal bar, I drew a line across the top at that point, thinking we might be in a range because we pushed up range, probably looking at some point to have it go out the other side, out the top. But as we're going through, it's up and down. I've got this range because I hadn't decided if it was this little range or this larger one. I left them both just because I was unsure of what was happening. But got lots of touches along the bottom of this one. So we've got new high, we got a short-term trend. We do have a break of that. Maybe if we can get a nice second entry short up near the top, but we don't actually get it. It's all down the bottom. But we have a multiple test across here. Strong bull bar. Could have gone long. I only saw this in hindsight, but something to look for because I end up taking a multiple test later on in the day. But, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of attempts to go lower. Strong bull, go long there. Yeah. Then we get a new high, which is a breakout. Most breakouts fail, and there's the failure. But does the failure fail, and does it carry on? So when we had this little top here, I was thinking about going short there, but not much room to the EMA. We sort of traded up. I was unsure if this range was going to hold, so I didn't do anything there. Then you've got a lower high of here, but it's doji. Then it pushes down. I guess you could have taken this lower high. I didn't know where this downtrend was forming. I was still messing with lines, so I didn't even see that. But there was enough for that, multiple lower highs below the EMA. Room to the bottom of at least that range. But in that channel, we get a break into extreme, and now we're at the low. And we're looking, we're not looking to go short now that we've had a break into new extreme. Taking this channel tight, it's up, it breaks. We get a new high. This is technically a second entry short after a break and the new high. But, we didn't quite make the top. There's still a good chance we might hit this top. Yeah. Even going short, there's not a lot of room to the EMA. Yeah, not happening. Then we have a first entry. I was counting the first entry. Looking for a second entry because we're still thinking we're going to go long, get the top up here. And then it pushes through the EMA. So maybe a higher low, but it never really comes until here. And it's sort of the middle of the range. It's still, for me, undecided. I didn't have this channel. I drew this channel. Yeah. At this point, when this bar formed, still looking long at that point. Here, these areas here, I still wasn't sure. We do have the 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of that channel, but we've got it bouncing off the top, which we kind of thought it was going to do over there. Then it bounces off again. So I ended up taking this second entry long. So we have that test, that hit. I probably should have waited for the next little trade, but I didn't know at the time because I can't see that far in the future. So we have a first entry, second entry. Now, this was a crap bar. So in hindsight, seeing that bar after I entered it, like, and even after it triggered, I'm like, what did I do? Like, it's a bullish bar or bearish bar. Yeah, it's got some stem. It pushed down, it pushed back up. If that had a finished green, it would have been way better. But this was a risky trade. But it was with this trend. The EMA was holding. There was a little bit of room to the top of the range. So there's some positives to that. But yeah, I shouldn't have entered that one. What would have been a better trade was this one. So now we've got multiple tests along here. So 1, 2, 3 in there. Good bull bar. That's the type of bar that should have been here to make this trade valid. So I broke my rules on that by ignoring that bar because there wasn't a lot of context rules. I guess it could have been context with this break looking for that new extreme, but yeah, this was the much better spot to enter because I was pissed off with myself for taking this trade. After I took a quick little dirty little scalp there, I wasn't even paying attention there at that point. And then I think it hit the top of range and I'm like, oh wait, there was a triple test. There was a good bar. Why did I take that dumb trade? Then it works higher, small channel break, new extreme, little sideways correction. And now we start pushing, lower high, lower high, lower high. So now we're below the EMA. I drew this shorter channel from there. I didn't have this larger channel down yet. Then we get a new low, and I'm looking to go short still. I'm watching to see if this top of range acts as, is this a breakout pullback, or a failed breakout rather, and is this going to hold its support, or is this going to go hit its head here and flush? And I'm hoping for the flush because following the channel. And we get up to the EMA, we get close to the EMA, we get our first entry short. And this bar, when it formed, it went up, touched the EMA, reversed. So I like that. I put my order in down here. However, when I saw this push down, it sort of fluctuated in here. So I changed my risk profile and I meant to reduce the number of contracts. And instead I increased it, which was a mental error. I have to change some of my ATM strategies so they're a little bit more clear. But when it does break, it does scalp out fairly quickly. So I really lucked out on that one. Mama Market was on my side today for sure on that trade. And it slowly works its way down. And at this point here, I'm like, what's the range going to do? Is this range going to hold? Is that range down here a little bit or not? Is this channel going to have an overshoot? Which I marked it as an overshoot, so we're going to expect this to come out the other side. So it eventually comes out the other side. I'm not looking for anything short at this point. There is a channel working up after an overshoot, like that second entry short is likely going to fail and pop out the other side. And it does. So new low, first entry, second entry, failure. And then that little up channel has a break into extreme. We're looking now for something to go short, but then it bounced right there. And then it bounced again. So now we're going back into a little trading range. I think this line here, I initially had it down there, but I moved it up because of the next series of bars. Yeah, when it did that, I moved it up to that as the trading range, and it fit nicely across there. And then it just sat in this little 2-point range for a little bit. And wasn't really going anywhere, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches plus that over there. So it's either going to break all the way through or it's going to flush. And, I flipped the coin in my head and thought about the short. Now, context wise, this channel, the strong channel down, had the break. We're still looking for the new low. I'm betting short at this point. Get a good strong bar. And so pop the stop right underneath that little guy right there. So if it does break that, we're probably going to go lower. And we do. And it runs down to the bottom of that range. So got a nice little scalp out of that. And at that point, it was about noon and I had to be done for the day. I had to do some day job stuff and I never actually got back in the office until 6-ish Eastern, I want to say. Anyway. So we can look at some of the other bars that could have gone on because this is really only noon. So that went down. Little two-legged move in here. So there's one sort of pullback. There's no really lower bars. It's a visual second entry short, not a technical one because it never breaks. And this bar here, I don't know how it formed. It could have triggered down and triggered up, or it could have triggered up first and then flushed. I don't know. So either way, it's not a great bar, especially with no little trigger there. It goes down, and it ends up hitting the session open, the overnight at that point. Sometimes these act as bounce spots. Other times they're ignored. Back test, do that. Use that info as you see fit. As we continue along, yeah, there's the start of the bounce. So let's get this little channel going up. Tight little channel. More bars. There's a break. There's the new extreme. EMA is holding. It's not coming below the EMA. So this might actually be a possible spike in channel at this point. Start there for now. And we'll see. That's a bit wide, but we'll let it develop and see what happens. Still going higher, no pullback, still above the EMA. Really not a whole lot to do here. Yeah. So that was close-ish based on those. Haven't really adjusted that. Yeah, and then we start to sell off. Okay, so we have a break. We are in this spike in channel. It is a break of the channel. We're still looking for some form of up at some point, but this is a strong push below. Pushes below, gets back to the EMA, pushes back down. But good news is we've got two legs in here. That starts to reverse. Still thinking it might go lower at this point because they are two legs, but those are strong pushes down. And then the doji is indecision. So really you could go either way. But we're still thinking context-wise, a break of this channel, two legs down, get us to a new extreme. That in here is the first entry, second entry, but you can't take that. If that higher low maybe was above the EMA, you could look at that. But hey, look at that. It failed. Look at that. So again, it's below the EMA. There's really, nothing really takeable for my strategy in here. Now we've got this push up. We've got the break. Now we've got that new extreme. Throw in a little channel. Now, this one here, I should have probably extended that. I'm looking pretty locally as I'm doing that review, and then I look back, there's that. But maybe the channel or the top of range is there. And maybe it's maybe it's here. Maybe it's here. So there's a couple options because there's a couple of solid steps there. This is a big range. So maybe in that original range where I had it might not be a bad target. And there it goes there. So now we have a new high, break, shortened downtrend. So first entry. And now we've got a strong push. We're coming off the top of the range. So at this point, I'd probably be thinking short. Strong push down, yeah. So I think at this point we're looking at a failed second entry long, especially push down. There's the second entry, so high, first entry, second entry. It's below the EMA. Doji's not great, but some people would look at this as the start of a reversal pattern. So, you know, again, if you didn't make the mental mistake and maybe size down your position instead of increasing it, this might be a good spot to go short. Triggers. Oh yeah, it does take off. Look at that. So that would have been good for a scalp. At this point, I'd be looking at widen this channel. Now we've got another overshoot, and overshoots are generally going to correct out the other side. We just don't know when. Another new low. So there'd be a new low. It doesn't tick lower. No ticks lower. No ticks lower. First entry short. Yeah, nothing. Nothing of interest. Draw the channel. Maybe it's coming back here. Maybe it's the bottom of this range here. It's the top of that range. First entry, there's a new high, so first entry, break a channel. I don't like that strong push down. That's what, 3 points? 3-point reversal. So there is a second entry. I wouldn't take that just based on the pure size, but it does follow the rules of channel, break, first and new high, first entry, second entry, triggers, fails. Yeah, gross. Not happy about that. So now we've got a new high. Now, is that? Yeah. That's definitely... You can't really go long above this bar anyway, because it's... Can't go bar above that one. That one's bearish, bearish. Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't take that. But what do I know? I'm just okay. New high. What's it doing? Yeah, so it's starting to work higher at this point. What time is it? 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Getting to the end of where I would be trading, I don't really go much past 3:30. Even 2:30 is a bit much for me. Even though I say that out loud, but if the setup's there, I'll take it. Yeah. And there's really no other spot to enter, I think. Maybe this as a channel. The midline fits nicely. There's no place to really enter because even that new high goes first entry to a new high. New high. New high. Yeah, there's no real pullbacks in that. Yeah. Too bad that ticked above. If that had just stayed there, that would have been your... wait a minute. First entry, second entry, third entry. Yeah, anyway. I'm trying to make this work, but I can't figure it out in my head. I don't think it's a valid. Unless you wanted to call it a 1, 2, 3 triple test, maybe. Anyway, whatever. Keeps going up. Break. First entry. Oh, look, first entry to a new high. Oh, no, not quite. And there's the second entry, but it's topping out there. Yeah, it sort of went up for the rest, I think. So at that point, because it's still climbing, I'd readjust this channel, hoping for a nice break. But even then, I'm not a fan of it. Like, there's empty room here, empty room here, empty room here. The midline sort of holds it, so makes it a little bit more valid. Yeah, and I think that's the end of day. Yeah, there's nothing. So, yeah, so overall, I would say 3-0 on actual trades. I would say mental game. I made a mental error on this trade. I made a mental error on this trade. I was okay with this trade. So, oh yeah, that line was there for part of that. So, yeah, 2 mental errors, 3 trades. So we'll call that 3-0 on the trade and 1-2 on the mental game. Anyway, wrapping it up. And yeah, this episode is definitely brought to you by coffee, because it's been an exhausting day. Day job is exhausting sometimes. Anyway, World's Okayest Trader out.